퍼즐 익스프레스 모아 모아. 퍼즐 익스프레스 모아 모아. 퍼즐 익스프레스 모아 모아. 퍼즐 익스프레스 모아 모아. 퍼즐 익스프레스 모아 모아.
Hello, hello. I see we have Christian in the chat already, so hello to Argentina. And I'm going to start the stream now, so I'm going to switch the view. Here we go. And the first game I'm looking at is More, a SemiCom game, for a Korean game. I thought, with me deciding to do a few more M games today, it'd be a good one to start it with, because it's called More. It's one of those mini game collections, so you know, your first set of mini games is this set. Let's do Jump. You'll get some instructions. Compared to some games, they're not too badly written. Walk over the stepping stones. So, not like that. Don't jump in the water. Now, obviously, these are meant to be played in multiple players because, you know, you've got one player trying to outdo the other player. But they do work as a single-player game too. They're very heavily inspired by Konami's minigame collections, you know, the Bishi Bashis and things like that. Maybe even Sega's Tantar, Ishidantara series. And any game of that style, really. There are different variations of the minigames on this. I'd say maybe this was more influenced by the Sega ones than the Konami ones. Did I do enough? Yep, I scored 7 and I needed 5. Apparently I get another go. Don't just jump in the water. Now this one's been emulated in MAME for quite a long time. It's one of the original batch of SemiCom games I emulated when, pretty early on, when I found out how the protection worked and could extract the data for them. It runs on cloned Snow Brothers hardware, really, just with a different sound system. Oh, I'm not doing as well this time. But I am still in the green, so I'm good. I've passed the event. There we go, I've got 7 again out, and I needed 5. So my report card should look good. There we go, good. And clear. The games do get more difficult and rank up, as you would imagine. So from the second selection, I can select Witch. Flying Witch. What do I have to do on this one? Fly with a broomstick in the air, avoiding obstacle. A witch flies with a broomstick in the air. Okay. So no, I don't. What am I avoiding? What am I getting? Do I just avoid everything? Oh, I get the tickets. Okay. As long as it's not in the same place. Can't get that one. Can get that one. Can get that one. Can get that one. So this is sort of, yeah, just an avoid them, really, isn't it? Looks like I'm in the green again. The life is green, so oh, don't get hit. I think I succeeded on that one. Yeah, needed 9, got 12. Gives you another try. I don't know why it gives you another try when you've already passed, but it prolongs the game a little bit. I think this is impossible to avoid. Oh no, no, I'm wrong. That's impossible to collect though, surely. Unless my hitbox is tiny. It's not that tiny. But yeah, I don't mind these mini game collections. They are better with a friend. But you know, if you've got a low budget, it's something you can pull off, which is why there were so many of this type of thing on the Wii, really, because you know, you get a few people together, they make a few very simple games, and they sell them, and unfortunately that is how the Wii ended up with so much shovelware. But they're not too bad. I mean, in an arcade environment, they work. And here we go. I've passed that event too. Now there was a sequel to this, a sort of called More Plus, which just is really the same thing with but some new events. I guess SemiCom thought, you know, they've already got one game. Again, with the whole shovelware thing, really, you've got most of it there. Why not just add a little bit more to it and call it More Plus? What am I doing? Something with falling stones. Probably getting the balls, aren't I? Not the rocks. This is trickier than it should be. Nowhere near passing this one. You see how much higher the green thing is now for me to reach on the bar. I'm still in red, I think. Red might be 2 lives lost. I'm not red anymore. No, I'm not going to pass this time. So it's 1 life down. Another attempt. Let's see. Anybody else is in the chat, feel free to say hi. I think I mean, I'm going to try and do another 3-hour stream. I don't know if I will this time because I did a 3-hour stream yesterday and I wasn't planning on doing one today, but I just needed a break from a few other things, so I thought, you know, I'll just do this for a little bit and see how it goes. Oh, I actually passed this time. There we go. But yeah, there were so many games beginning with M. It's ridiculous. And I didn't cover a lot of the popular ones last time. Things like Metro Cross were mentioned, and I just never got around to them. So I'll probably be looking at Metro Cross shortly as one. But I do try and I prefer to cover lesser known games that I've still enjoyed a bit. Metro Cross is the one where you're jumping over barrels. It's the Namco one. You're running along, jumping over Coke cans and barrels and all sorts of things. This one I actually had on the Amstrad, and it's a pretty decent port on the Amstrad. Although I would play in the arcade version. Oh, there's actually a specific target meant to shoot. Would help if I paid attention, wouldn't it? Score 0. I just destroyed everything, probably including all the friendly planes. You know, kill the one with a pointed. There we go. Kill the one that's that shit. Let's kill the. Is that the wrong one? Kill the there we go. No, that was the wrong one. No. I'm not very good at this minigame. Failed. Is that lives remaining, or is that I'm out now? Fail. Yep, that's it. I have lost. Big countdown from 20.
Game over.
But game over. Right. So, this was released in 1999, so it's a little bit behind the curve in terms of, you know, looks and everything, but playable game. Metrocross. I mean, I could play a Pang game later because there is a Mighty Pang, but Metrocross is this one. Run and jump. Ready yourself, player one. This tune sounds familiar. Some squares slow you down, so try not to walk on those. Don't get rolled on by a Coke can. That gives you a little boost. You're racing against the clock. When I looked at Mystic Marathon yesterday, I guess this is a similar sort of race style, just not against other people, but you're still racing to the end. That surprised me, Christian. I thought this was quite well known, Namco one, but if you didn't see it, then I'm glad to be introducing it to you. It did get ported to the home systems here. I had it on the CPC. I think in Japan it got quite a few ports too. Don't know if it got ported to the consoles. I'm kind of surprised if there wasn't a NES version. Hey, alright, Soul. How you doing? Oh, 5 seconds left. But, I don't know what the main character is meant to be in this. It's quite a strange design. Guess it's just meant to be a person, but very long face, almost horse-like. Oh yeah, we've got a little, almost a little chain going. Get it right. If you know where they are, you can get it right. So you do have to learn the levels a little bit. There we go. Bouncing all over. Oh, I missed that one. That's the secret to doing this level, is learning where they are, and you get a big speed boost and you're way ahead of the clock. But still 7 seconds remaining. Yeah, Namco's music usually is good. Even when it's known songs, the rendition is always excellent. They make good use of their sound hardware. And good sound balance too. But this, you have to shake these off, I think, do you? Yeah. I don't know if what the cans actually say, but they're definitely meant to be cola cans, aren't they? I'll go and grab a cola can, but I don't have one right now. Some of these this also reminds me a bit of Nintendo's Excite Bike and the having to work out which lane you're meant to be in all the time. But and they're doing badly. Oh, I'm on my bonus extra, not doing very well time, and I've almost run out of that. Yeah, you do get a little bit of time on the end, but if you eat into that too much, then you'll struggle more in the stages after, I believe, because I don't think it regenerates. Those hurdles. Oh, I've got speed up, but I'm just running into things. No. This is not going well. Yeah, there might be a few less Z games. I mean, I'm not going to cover every M game, but since I started with M and it's March and I didn't do a lot of the ones yesterday I wanted to do, I thought, you know, I'd just fire this up and do a few more. Not managing it. Nope. Apparently running out of time electrocutes you. Who knew? One thing I was thinking of doing was upside down W games. Then I could do Wizard of War and Warrior Blade. But, that was Metrocross. Hey Delta Ray Studios, how you doing? Anyways, should I go to a shooter? Yeah, I'll go to a shooter. Mad Shark with Seta hardware, Seta sound hardware. Now, somebody was mentioning to me that they'd seen a bootleg of this for sale a while back on completely different hardware, but they didn't manage to pick it up. But that would have been quite interesting to see. It was on the same hardware that Fit of Fighting uses, apparently, and that's quite an awful piece of bootleg hardware. But unfortunately, as I didn't manage to pick it up, we will not be seeing a dump of that one. So this is not the worst shooter in the world. I like the general style it's got. It's not good, you know. You're not going to write books about what an amazing game it is, but it's satisfying, sort of Raiden-like. Look at the power up there; is very, very similar. As other shots. Got your weapons changing power up, changing colour before you pick it up. Types. And checkpoints. I forgot this had checkpoints. Everybody's favourite thing in a shooter. Cycling points on those. Yeah. It's nice and smooth too. I can't remember if it's got quite bad slowdown later or not, but the initial speed of it's alright. But if you just fly into bullets like that, you're not going to find out how it runs later on in the game, because you're never going to get there. Ooh. That bomb's very, very Raiden too. I think maybe they played Raiden. Yeah, the explosions and smoke are smooth, and there's lots of little touches to the animation. You've got little pieces flying off, shrapnel pieces flying off things when you destroy them. Again, very Raiden, but it's an effect that works, and they've pulled it off effectively. Look, dual tank boss. Where does that come from? I actually got past the first boss. I mean, the original release of Raiden in Japan was checkpointed too. People seem to forget that. I think because the parent set in MAME isn't, and a lot of people just run the parent sets. So I think maybe checkpoints were more common in Japan. People were more accepting, you know, you need the skill to beat sections of the game. But then you get all the games where the checkpoints are just so unfairly placed that once you die and you're stuck on a checkpoint, you're probably not going to get past it. You can just waste coins trying, but you're better off restarting anyway. So, yeah. The game display should be working from the start today because I do actually have the correct configuration. I only copied over the essential files from my new build this time, rather than every file. Because Aaron did make a few more adjustments to the YM emulation, so I just want to keep those in the tree, the build I'm using. So if anything crops up while I'm streaming, I can report it, although I would have to be playing games with those sound chips for it to, you know, for anything to show up anyway. But yeah, this was Mad Shark. I think it's playable. Again, look at that intro. What game has a pre-rendered intro? Did this come out after Raiden 2? This was 93. I believe it did. I'm not going to play Raiden 2. Yeah, Raiden 2 was the same year, so pre-rendered intro of 2 ships flying off. I'm not going to judge, but yeah. Everybody likes cats, right? MCAT ADV. Magical Cat Adventure. Also known as just Cat in Japan. Or no, maybe not in Japan. This is the... Actually, no, this is the non-Japanese version. I want the Japanese version. Because the Japanese version has more content. And the Japanese version's got an intro. Again, this is one of the things people will sometimes miss because they just run the parent set, and the parent set doesn't have any of this intro. So if you run the parent set, you miss out on some of the content with this one. I think the Japanese version called Cat doesn't have this either, but the version called Magical Cat Adventure does. I mean, I don't know what it says, I don't know what it's saying, I don't know what it's telling the story is. But there's your little cat. Little bell. And, yeah. It's some nice art in this, really, I think. Yeah, there's some wobbly backgrounds. You've got multiple scrolling layers on the clouds up there too. You know, they put some work into the effects here. It's a shame it's not the most in-depth game, and it's actually, for an arcade game, it's actually pretty easy. There aren't that many arcade platform games though. I mean, you've got some famous ones. Obviously, you've got Strider, which I would class as a platform game, but compared to other genres, I think the arcades did lack platform games. Psychic 5 always comes to mind. That's an old 8-bit one. Taito did have Recall Horn in development, but that was cancelled. You've got more run and guns like the Metal Slugs, but they're not really platform games. So if anybody's got any favourite arcade platform game memories they want to talk about, that'd be interesting to hear. But most of them, they're not full sort of 8-way scrolling ones. You get quite a lot of 2-directional scrolling ones. I mean, Wonder Boy's got platform elements to it, but Not this weapon. This has got some terrible weapons too. I mean, you know, Ghosts and Goblins, Ghouls and Ghosts have got their bad weapon. This has got that similar idea of having a bad weapon. I suppose you could call those platform games. Sort of almost run and guns, but there is a bit more platforming in them. This weapon is so slow. I don't want it anymore. But apparently I died trying to replace it. That means I've still got it. Yay. Come on, weapon pickup box. Can I jump on this branch? No. No, it got away. Yeah, you can only have one of them on screen at once, and you've got to wait for the whole animation to play out before you can use it again. Which, as you can imagine, leaves you open to attack. But what have I got? That wasn't even a weapon, was it? Oh, it was. It's the also quite slow down. At least it goes forward and is predictable. I get this. Can't get that, can I? Sonic the cat. Oh, not what? Somehow I've picked up the weapon again and drown. Cats can't swim. That'll do. Yeah, and New Zealand story is easily the best one, I would say. That I would agree on. And that is a pure platform game. The real challenge is the platforming. Even though you can fly on all the balloons and stuff like that, the platforming is a challenge in that one. And it's multi-directional, so it counts in every sense for me. Oh dear. Well, I said this game was quite easy, but you do have to have put in a little bit of practice. Where do I start from if I continue? Boss fight or start at level? Faster weapon. I looked at New Zealand story on a previous stream when I was looking at how there were 4 different versions of it with a different first level in MAME. And at some point it'd be nice to see them all mapped out. Now, one thing about this game that I recall from people playing it is that the last boss is ridiculously simple. You know, compared to all the other bosses, you get to the end and then the last boss you can just stand there and fire at it and it doesn't really put up much of a fight. Right, is the next level the haunted house? No, it's the cave. Again, a nice background here with multiple layer scrolling again. It's definitely some Sonic influences, I would say. Yeah, one of them might be hacked because this first level is really unusual and starts you in a very tricky position. But you've got the sort of new version, you've got the old version, you've got a prototype version, and the first level is different on all of them. So I would love if somebody actually mapped them out and worked out if there was unique content all the way through, or if it's just remix level orders. But it's strange because the home ports of New Zealand story were based on different versions too. The 8-bit computer versions were different to the 16-bit ones. Some seem to be based on the prototype. Oh, another annoying arcing projectile weapon. Yeah, it does have a very console game feel. But the closest would be, I'd say, the Mega Drive, but it's a bit too colourful for the Mega Drive. It's too high resolution for a SNES. I don't know. There would have had to be in cuts to get it on the consoles. I mean, it's went from when 93, so you know it's not really advanced enough for a Saturn game. Just a bit of an odd fit, really, isn't it? I could see it being on maybe one of the Japanese home computers, the X68K or something like that, or you know, a modified version on the Mega Drive. But yeah, maybe they just wanted to have a console-style game in the arcades. I mean, it is Wintechno who, beyond this, didn't do anything for the arcades. I don't think they did anything at all. Nobody really knows much about them. So, I mean, the only other game on the same hardware is Nostradamus by Face. And again, that's one that gets overlooked all the time. Right. Here's a prototype that was added earlier in the year. This is Must Shoot TV, an Incredible Technologies prototype that was recovered from some of the development discs. So it's not complete, and I always thought it was a bit strange having a TV within a TV, but then I look at the number of YouTubers who've got TVs in TV, and I was thinking about putting a TV border on my my YouTube, and think it's not that strange, is it? But this is Chuck, and this is his dog Gomer. Chuck worked 7 years for ITS Cable Company, and he lost his job, and then he hacked into the satellite network, and he wanted to disrupt everything and you know, drive the company off the air using a video game gun. Very realistic story, this. I mean, you could ask the same for a lot of genres, really. I don't really know. I mean, with consoles, you're always going to have a bigger market anyway. With arcades, yeah, you've got the competitive aspect more, and that doesn't really apply to a platformer. But there are plenty of other games that, you know, don't really take advantage of being in an arcade environment. There's a bit of a zooming glitch there, I think, but that might just be the prototype code. But yeah, you've got like 4 channels on this level, which are 4 different mini games. Got to shoot it quota bonus. Don't shoot the unarmed man. No, don't shoot them, you see. Well done. In fact, just shoot the ones that fire at you. I think I might have failed this already. But yeah, this was unreleased. You can kind of see why. It's not doing anything that hadn't been done before. I failed. Shall we try again? Every time you fail, it will lower the requirements. Oh dear. Just past 1708. But yeah, it's interesting to see this one, even though it's obviously in an incomplete state. After these 4 levels, there is another set, but compared to what it looks like, though, they were going to be in the game, there's very little content here, and the difficulty balance is all the way off, all off. This one, for example, I really struggle with. You have to be so quick to get the coins. You never quite know where they're going to be. It does feel a bit like some real estate's being wasted on the TV border, though, especially when it would have been in an arcade cabinet. But yeah, way off on the score on that one. I will get another attempt, and the score will have gone down a little bit, maybe. I mean, Incredible Technologies did release some shooters. Obviously, they're quite famous for the Big Buck Hunter series. I think there was Carnival King as well. I've done even worse this time. Yep. So this is pretty tricky. Maybe it's a bit easy with a gun. I don't know. I've always found things with an actual gun to be even more difficult. But I think my reaction is just a bit slow at aiming and coordination and the like. Experiencing technical difficulties. Game over. You can tell, like, the high score table here wasn't really ever finished. It's very primitive. Yeah, that's absolutely fine, isn't it? Shooting coins inside a stadium of people. I mean, I'm sure maybe we can shoot some coins. Shoot this tornado here, this hurricane, and everything else, and you know, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, remember, this is his way of taking the satellite network off air using a video game gun. The Alien Network. They're all meant to be TV channels, by the way. So this is channel 909. No, so you can do it in order. Did I pass? Nope. You're not really allowed to make too many mistakes. You've got to be quick. I passed that time. Incredible Technologies games tend to be quite expensive to play. I mean, if you look at the Golden Tee ones, do a full 18 holes, you're putting in a fortune. It's the same with the bowling ones. You're always putting in extra money to continue. Home shopping channel. I think this was just shoot all the dishes. Yeah, this is shoot everything. This is just the pure destruction one. There we go. And you see, compared to the other level, that one is simple. There's just those targets that don't move to shoot. And that's that. I think, had the development continued on this game, that level might have been one of the earlier ones, with this Super Sunday one being a later one. I'm not going to try and play through all of them anyway, but I just thought I'd show that as one of the additions from last year. I don't think there's any hidden content either in the ROM. I was hoping maybe there'd be leftover bits of other game, you know, other mini games, but I couldn't see anything that stood out. I didn't look very hard, but I think what's there is what they actually made, and beyond that, they didn't finish anything. Bit of pinball up next, I would say. Techfri, Desystems. This one's an odd one because the set we have has the title screen hacked out, but it was encrypted and on an original board, and it's probably a prototype. So why that's the case, I don't know. But this is Music Ball, and it's the sequel to Speedball, not the Amiga game. I won't tell anybody, man. Sure, don't worry. You know, this is educational. Purely educational. You're learning how to do work-related things. This is very more 8-bit than some of the others. I mean, it is 8-bit. It's 2Z80s. But, yeah, there are multiple tables on this if you get the ball through the exits. Unlike Speedball, you don't get to choose the table from the start. But I think the focus here was actually on making some tunes, because each table's got its own bit of music, and the game's called Music Ball. So, you know, I mean, I might tell Zypho you cheating on him and watching this stream. You know, he's not going to be happy if you're watching other people's streams, not his. I don't think he's streaming right now, but, you know, you're meant to be a Zypho fan. Pinball Dreams on the CPC can't hold a candle to this. Yeah. One of the interesting things with this is it could go in a cabinet that had the pinball display. That's why there's the extra display at the top of the screen, which isn't part of the video display. because it was you could put it in a pinball-shaped cabinet with the screen flat and those bits, you know, the LEDs and everything up top. So there's the score. So there are pictures of the cabinet online. The Techfri sets of some of the Techfri sets of Speedball support it too. Although that was not a good display of a good demonstration of how to play it. You've got the little pinball lottery feature if you match the score. Let's give this another try. I'd like to get to one of the other tables, but with a play like that, I'm not going to. Yeah, it's a playable game. I've seen just how bad pinball physics can be with some of the plug-and-play games I've been looking at recently. And if you look at a lot of the old 8-bit pinball games, they have some very questionable physics too. So, in terms of being a playable game, yeah, I can see the appeal of this one. Although, I don't like it when that happens in pinball games. There might be a tilt button. Yeah, there's probably tilt buttons of some sort, but they don't seem to indicate you've tilted the screen, so it's a bit hard to tell. Unless it's a missing scroll register, which is possible. Yeah, there is some good music on this actually. I quite like it. It's got another table. Are you sure this imagery is suitable for work, man shovel? You know? It's not quite Gauss Panic, is it? Quite nice to listen to the music outside the game, actually. But now I failed that table, I'm back to this table, so I don't get to hear much of that table's music. Or this table's music. No, quite something, isn't she? Come on, let me continue. I need a 60. That's not a 60. I'll give this one more credit. No, you can't change table at the start, but there are the 3 tables. I think you use the other exit to get to the third one. Again, this one tends to be overlooked. People seem to know Speedball, but not this one. And they're the same pinball engine, same developer. But I think this one probably wasn't released. We've not seen anything that seems like a final board for it. And the fact the title screen is missing is odd. I think maybe this was bootlegged in some way from a show version and then made to look like it was original with an encrypted CPU. But I really don't know. I do not know who that is supposed to be. It's a Spanish game, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. But, Spain had quite a big arcade industry. Just like they had quite a big 8-bit CPC game industry and, you know, home computers. It was just a big gaming industry in Spain, really. But, I don't think you're going to see the third table. I think I'm failing at this. I'm definitely failing at this. But yeah, this is nice and fast and smooth. You know, you can't complain. There's no slowdowns or anything. It just plays really, really well. No, Pinball Dreams and the like on the home system were definitely a better game. And that CPC port of Pinball Dreams is amazing. But, you know, that CPC port of Pinball Dreams did not exist when this came out. I don't think Pinball Dreams even existed when this came out. Oh, we got this table again. Bit dancing action going on. Oh. See, I think it's that exit that I want, the 5,000 one. But yeah, you lose a life even when you're going down the table. I broke 1,000,000 points. That will have to do. Anyway, that was Music Ball. Where should I go next? It's got to be beginning with M. Shall we go Mushi Pork? I didn't cover Mushi Pork the other day. Pork. Cave Shooter. I did Mystic Marathon yesterday. I might look at it again today, but I've got Mushi Pork on for now. Yeah, Mercs is a good one. I've not done Mercs. I'll probably do Mercs after this. I might look at Mystic Marathon again. I did play it briefly last time. But I'm not ruling out playing ones again. I did kind of want to play that Moon War prototype again because I played it a bit after the stream and just remembered what the deflector shield actually was. Right, so this is the game with flying pigs. So you've got more babes here. So I don't know which one I'm going to be, but into the pig craft they go. So Cave did have the odd, quite wacky game. So this is probably the wackier one of the SX3 hardware. Although Pink Sweets is up there, but I don't like Pink Sweets. Look at all the flying pigs. Yeah, this one's a lot of fun. I mean, most cave shooters are, really. They've got humour to them in this case. Dangan Fever Run has to... don't fly into bullets. Guwanga's got style to it. The Dodonpachi games are... well, they're legendary in their own sense. Ibarra, I really like Ibarra too. Especially the Black Label version. That doesn't begin with M, so it won't be played today. But I'm just going to squeeze in Ibarra in another stream. I think. But, right. I was also 50-50 on streaming today because I don't know if one of my friends is. They used to do Wednesdays all the time, but they've had the last few weeks off because I think they've got lots of real life bits to get on with. They work as a teacher, and I think they've just got bits to catch up with. Even when schools might not be in, but university teaching is still going on, and lots of paperwork. They usually do a more current game, Wind Down Wednesdays. That's the Enigmatic Productions on Twitch. I'll have to see if they're streaming when I finish, but I've not seen an announcement from them today, so I don't think they will be. They did like their little special effects in this one, Cave. No, I've not got the blitter delay turned on. I find it a bit unreliable, so I just leave it off. I'm not good enough at the games anyway for me to really actually make a difference to my play. No, I think Miss World 96 is probably off the list, as are most of the Mahjong games. There's definitely some that are a bit dodgy. There's some that I'm not sure about. I mean, the parent set of Miss Puzzle is not labelled nudes, and I did give it a quick run, and it seemed okay. Likewise, the parent Magic Bubble set seems to have Winnie the Pooh instead of, the whole nude theme. But yeah, Miss World is definitely not going to be played. Nor is Mr. World the one. It's also got some men in it. I think you might convince, say, Nikki and Bunty to fire them up on one of their Twitch streams. They had a rather naughty Spectrum game on last week. Katana didn't do much for me. In terms of horizontal cave games, I definitely prefer Death Smiles and Pro Gear. I just didn't find Katana to be that entertaining. Yeah, this is going to be my last credit on this. And then I'll find something else. Probably Mercs. So I think this got a port as part of a double pack on the 360. I think it was bundled with Pink Sweets. So it was available to home users without paying cave PCB price money. The game over screen is sausages. I guess that means the pigs are dead. I mean, I can understand the slowdown making it a lot easier, especially if you put like Ultra Mode or God Mode on, like I did yesterday, and just watched all the pretty patterns as my lives drained away. Mercs, the sequel to Commando. I do remember back when this was not well emulated and there were glitches in the middle of the levels, you know, back in like 10-15-year-old MAME versions, but it's pretty well emulated these days. Do we need to see the story? The president was taken hostage. And of course, we have to rescue the president. Do I want to rescue the president? This isn't a compelling story. Joseph Gibson. Okay. Howard Powell. Okay, we've seen enough. Sets the mood, doesn't it? No, that's what I was thinking. Shall we rescue the president? Nah. Better off not doing that. I think the one thing this would benefit from is rotary controls, but it doesn't have them. But yeah, this has been a CPS one. This is CPS 1 game. This is one of the ones that will be benefiting from Aaron's sound improvements. It's probably only going to be subtle, but there should be some improvement. There seem to be improvements across the board from things people have been testing. Bomb. Mazinger. I could play Mad Ball. Actually, that's probably one of those ones I don't want to play. While the clones are marked as nude, I don't trust it that the parent set's not going to throw something unwanted up at me without warning. I might test Mad Ball off stream. do a Data East stream at some point and play Dragon Ninja on that though. I do like Data East, as I've probably mentioned quite a few times. There we go. Now you're going to get run over. And the medal, the very big medal, is also being run over. I'm pretty sure you're not meant to ram everything, but you know. Possibly a little bit bomb happy. Oh, MameHaze is good, yeah. Nichibutsu one, isn't it? So it's a case of, do I revisit Mystic Marathon next, or do I go MameHaze? I might go MameHaze and save Mystic Marathon for towards the end, if I run out of other ones I've not played already, actually. I think that makes more sense. These medals are a bit big. I mean, you're definitely going to be walking around wearing them. I wish you could punch the tanks too. I mean, not practical, but sometimes you just want to punch a tank, don't you? You've got shock troopers that's like SNK's Osiris's take on this too, which is also a good game. But shock troopers again is not an end game. Bomb spam. Mission 2 completed. Okay, MameHaze next then. It's been a long time since I played MameHaze. I can barely remember it, but I'll give it my best shot. Enemy tank line broken. The bullets are quite small on this game. That is noticeable. And continues now 0. And it's game over. MameHaze. Was MameHaze on the CPC too? I have this feeling it was. But yeah, MameHaze. I think it was one of those games like Galivan that got a CPC port. Hey, welcome back, Orgat Soul. So MameHaze, 68k, Z80, Nichibutsu, not naughty Nichibutsu, just Nichibutsu. Yeah, look at that nice scroll in there with all the line scroll. I think I can turn the volume up a bit on this one. It seems quite quiet. There we go. Right. I mean, in terms of build your own robot shooters, my favourite's still Roga, the Data East one that I played a few streams ago. That one, if you've not played Roga, definitely check out Roga. That's a fantastic game. But yeah, this is a very nice looking game, this one. But I'm probably not going to be very good at it. Yeah, nice smooth animation, nice not the smooth line scroll effect. I can't think of many times where Nichibutsu tried this effect actually. Most of their games are more ordinary looking. I mean, obviously, no, so I say that, but then you've got things like Tube Panic, that was Nichibutsu, and that's anything but ordinary looking. So maybe I should say most of their 68k games are more ordinary looking. Don't shoot me. That's better. Legs. I mean, Roger, you build your robot at the start of the game. You know, you pick which weapons you want. It's a bit like Cross Out in that sense. But it does change how you play, which attacks you've got, which pieces you use. You can use one of the pre-built ones, or you can, you know, mix and match your parts, which is really nice to see in a sort of shooter type game. Yeah, this would have been very impressive. It's not one I've ever seen in an arcade. But, it seems to have been impressive, yeah. Let's get the legs back. Yeah, your legs. Let's go down the hole. It's also got this aspect to it, you know, you've got the above ground and below ground's not got the line swirl effect. Which again, it works. You don't want the line swirl effect down here. Still going on above ground though. Already got the legs. Well, I had the legs. Now I've got the, well, lost 2 pairs of legs at once, so that's a bit expensive. I'll have body instead. Don't give me any prosthetic legs, I'll probably just lose them. I think that's the lesson from this. Can't get that up down now. That is quite an image, isn't it? Yes. I'll give this another play. That's a very quick credit. In some ways, the visuals here, despite being completely different, remind me of Xevious. I think it's the green and the road patterns and the grey enemies. I think they could have done a sort of 2.5D Xevious like this, Namco, rather than, you know, Xevious 3D, which I thought was kind of terrible. That now. Well, my robot now has an extendable something. I thought you couldn't go on the water. Have I been playing this game wrong the whole time I've played this game? Ah yes, Moon Shuttle. That was on my list. It's been a very long time since I played Moon Shuttle 2. I remember when Moon Shuttle wasn't emulated and everybody was asking when it's going to be emulated, because it was one of the encrypted Nichibutsu games, and nobody figured out the encryption at that point. That was, again, probably almost 20 years ago now. Yeah, it's a very Namco feeling Nichibutsu game, this one. And even Magmax Zero Left. Similar. Could be better the first time. Oh, body and legs. Oh yes, now we're talking. Let's get that too. Now I'm a proper robot. I'm also very slow. The sound effects do drown out everything else a little bit. One of those games where you're tempted to stop firing just to listen to the music, but stopping firing in a shooter is not a good plan. Oh, I survived. At least it does give you plenty of body parts back. I can't have 4 legs, that would be better. If it let you pick up unlimited pairs of legs and have a 20-legged robot, that would be fantastic. Let's go back to the surface. That was an unsuccessful venture to the surface. I don't really know how this game evolves. I've never been good at it to get very far. And this is probably the furthest I've got in the last few years of playing it. Let's get the body back, or the head back. Oh, lost it. It's good that you do. It doesn't insta kill you when you've got the pieces. You do get, you get to go back and pick them up again. So it's like you're building up a little supply of extra lives the whole time you're playing it. And I like that mechanic. It's a bit like the shooters with an auto bomb, where if you've got a bomb in stock, it will bomb instead of killing you. But bomb pickups are much rarer than those. This is giving you body parts all the time. At least early on. Just going for the other thing, but... That was silly. I've noticed the high score is 68,000 and this uses a 68,000 processor. I'm sure that's not coincidental because I don't think I set that high score. Maybe this was the first 68,000 game they did. That would kind of make sense. I don't think guided missiles are going to be a very good blessing. That's almost as bad as the beating up monks yesterday. I'll give you some flowery missile blessing. You drop flowers on everybody. I didn't get to this part, did I? I didn't get to it where it changes the graphics like this. Anyway, that's enough of Magnax, I think. It's a fun little game. Yeah, Moon Shuttle. Going through the asteroid field. Ram okay. It's nice to see a horizontally scrolling starfield too, in this classic style. But yeah, this is one of those classics that seems to have been forgotten. Yeah, Mario Brothers is a valid option too. I might look at that. Do I go with the original or the bootleg with strange sound? Anyway, oh, this probably needs turning down again, doesn't it? This one's quite loud. Ooh, there we go. Shall I reset that because you missed the start? Lashed your way through the asteroid field. Let's just shift a little bit, as you can see. Yeah, I might go for the bootleg just because it's something a little bit different. So-so. The Mickey Mouse enemies. The very angry Mickey Mouse enemies. The CRT shader leaving the trails on the stars is making this one look quite trippy. I think the CRT shader doesn't quite fade down to black in all cases. I noticed that on some other games. Some stuff does get stuck for much longer. Another asteroid field. I guess this one's still quite loud. This one's not going to benefit from having sound improvements, no. This is custom Nichibutsu sound. Can I squeeze through that? Yes, I can. Yeah, this one's just... No, this one's AY sound even, so... This won't have benefited to from the sound effects. Sound improvements. Yeah. Maybe the defaults do need adjusting a little bit. But like I said, I do like it. But I don't remember that much in the way of trails on a CRT. Yeah. Colour cycle effects are one of those things you really associate with arcades back then as well. Obviously, you say the Whirlwinds, Robotron stuff. The Sedosa games do it too, although they're Spanish and nobody really knows them. They've got quite a bit of colour cycling going on. This is a bit tough at this level. I'll give this one more credit. Yeah, I'll give it another credit. It's a nice, simple, classic game where one credit doesn't last that long. And you don't get to continue. But yeah, this is one I played a lot when it first, when it first was emulated, and then kind of didn't play much since. I don't know why. Still so-so. Said good work though. A bit of speech there, you see. And the Nichibutsu hardware does have some samples. Crazy Climbers got samples too. Yeah, it's definitely less of a Japanese thing. I think maybe Japan probably thought it was a bit more garish, whereas it was more what... It's different cultures and different expectations really, isn't it? Japan seemed to colour cycle more between stages, I'd say. Change the palette on things, rather than a constant cycle. You do get some later Japanese games with lots of colour cycling. I looked at Pastel Island a few streams back, but that was a prototype. It's very colourful. And Rainbow Islands is a very colourful game, not in colour cycling, but in terms of colour use. So they didn't want the games to be dull, but yeah, this colour cycling effect is not seen as much. You saw this colour cycling on quite a few home computer games too. Well, they say the moon is made of cheese, so... Juno first, yes, yes. Now it's mouldy cheese. Never give up. Well, I have to give up because it's game over. I have seen other examples. They're just not coming to mind for the colour cycling. I mean, the colour cycling stars is more common for Japan, but not other elements like the score panel there. Right. This one, you can say I'm cheating if you want. Technically, this does begin with M. Mille 2, Great 1000 Miles Rally. Although everybody just calls it Great 1000 Mile Rally 2. Technically, that was the USA title, but everywhere else, Great 1000 Miles is the subtitle on the sequel. So there you go. I can play this one and still be playing an M game. Though I don't like this as much as the original game.
Let me introduce these marvelous cars. Jaguar D5. Stage number is 2. The time limit is 60 seconds. Ready? Go!
Oh, wrong button. The accelerator is for some reason the other button in this game. Controls. I find this much more difficult than the sequel, or the prequel. Maybe it's better. Maybe this one's much better with a wheel. I don't know. The prequel you can play quite easily on a keyboard. I'm probably not going to manage this because I didn't start when I was meant to start. Ooh. Yeah, this is sort of turbocharged World Rally. It takes everything World Rally did and sort of turns it up to 10 or 11 or whatever number you can turn things up to these days. The original, I prefer the Evolution model of the first game because that just seems a little bit faster, a little bit more over the top, and maybe the car's a bit too big on this one. But it's a very good game. This, well, the original version of this, not this version, is one I played the arcade of, and that was one of the arcades with the steering wheel. And it was just as much fun in the arcade with the steering wheel. And surprisingly, the steering wheel worked. Which, I mean, if you've ever played in arcades, a number of times you go to a machine, it'll look good, and you try and use the steering wheel, it won't turn in one direction, or, you know, they're not always well looked after, unfortunately. So I was quite surprised for a game that I thought nobody would care much about, for it to still be in working condition. Yeah, that's not really good. I thought that was the finish. I slowed down. This is also about knowing where to take shortcuts and, you know, where to cut the corners and everything else. So you do have to play it a few times and learn the different tracks. It's a new record. Get lots of letters, so I'll be bar. Stage number 1, because it does let you do them in any order you want, as long as you do them all. But yeah, I've done a fair bit of work on the Kaneko drivers over the years, improving little bits and pieces. So they're drivers I do like to have a little play with, because they bring back fond memories of, you know, working on them. I think Luke got the games working initially, but especially the protected ones required a lot of extra work. There we go. Oh, come on. I failed. Continue more. No, this is the more stream. I will not continue more. I will accept my game over and reflect on my poor performance. And then I'm going to complete it. Enough tracks. But yeah, Mille 2 Great Thousand Mile Rally 2, however you want to refer to it. Good Kaneko game. Very good Kaneko game. Kaneko should have been more popular. You know what? I'm going to stick with Kaneko. Yeah, RC Pro AM is probably one of the most famous examples of that. It's been one of the home games. But World Rally set it off in the arcades. Yeah, there's a bug in the ending of... Is it that one? I think the bug might happen on the board if it's the one I investigated, because it's just got... It's putting tiles in memory that clearly are invalid. So I don't know if they just made an error when they were localizing it, because some of the Kaneko ones do have an extra graphics one with some different tiles in it, but that one definitely doesn't. I did look into it and couldn't see any way that it couldn't glitch, but I'm sort of thinking it might happen on original hardware, or there's just something we don't understand. But I'm going to stick with Kaneko. And this one, I believe, has some cycly colours, although it's a bit newer. Magical crystals. I'm not very good at this one, by the way. This fits in there with March and May's, although it's not isometric. From yesterday, March and May's from yesterday. So that's a very racing game logo, but this isn't a racing game. Pardon me? There we go, lots of colours on the title screen, look. All cycly. Well, not so cycly, but a bit cycly. And then it changes to this logo. 1 credit confirmed. See? Your friends are trapped inside of this crystal. Oh dear. Can I leave them there? No. But, I guess Toy Box were one of the Kaneko teams, although Toy Box is what the protection chips are also called. Although this one doesn't use the Toy Box protection chip, so, you know... This feels like maybe a SNES game to me, more so than an arcade. Look, I've got all the little fairies following me. A bit like Flicky. Get them to the goal. Please help player 1. You can see all the different coloured shots. I definitely wanted this to be a colourful game. This just looks like a battery, but you know. But yeah, a lot of people don't seem familiar with this one either, which is a shame. It's a nice little platforming, collecty game. Also fits in quite well with things like Moustache Boy, even though you're not changing the colour of the tiles on this. It feels similar in terms of how you can speed and movement. Quite slow paced. So those platforms disappear. 2D platform elements. Oh, don't fall off, don't fall off. Running out of time. This uses the special effects to keep the sprites on screen too when it does that dialogue box. So they clearly wanted to see what they could do as well. And you see the special effects to keep the sprite on screen there. They were clearly playing with the hardware to see what it could do. Knock me off with these waves. Big bouncy bomb. It's a bit slow though. Now it's gone all pang on me. Not too pangy. Oh, got hit. The slow shot's not actually working to my advantage right now. Yeah, not many people have seen this one. I think when people talk about Kaneko games, there are lots of them they'll talk about. They'll talk about the Jackie Chan games. They'll talk about Beat-Rat Boys. They'll talk about Kaiven. But this one doesn't seem to get mentioned that often. Also, Kaiven is a really good dragon-based shooter if you've not played it. Also, they talk about Gauss Panic, obviously. But not this one. How fast do you have to mash this button? Okay, I give up. I don't want to make too much noise from mashing buttons. There we go, different colour scheme, again bright and colourful. Just very shoot 'em up like background. I died again. I'll probably quit after losing a bit. Well, I just jumped to my death, but yeah, I was going to say I'll quit after losing this life. If you like this one, I do recommend giving it a try. The game is over. The game is over. Yeah. There you go, colour cycling ranking at the top. Kind of, when you talk about colour cycles and lots of colours, earlier in the chat, I was just sort of reminded of this one, especially as I was playing a Kaneko game. It's not quite that Williams colour cycle, but it's still Japanese and has colours that cycle. What next? Mario Brothers, yes. I'm not very good at Mario Brothers. Right, I'm going to go with the bootleg with different sound hardware. Because why not? Yeah, the microphone is very sensitive and the keyboard is next to it, so if I thump on a key like that, it's going to pick it up, which is why I didn't really want to be doing that too hard. So, Mario Brothers. With not Mario Brothers sound. Well, not the original sound. I will put on the original Mario Brothers after this. I just thought, you know, I'll play this one. I do have this one, a video for this one up when it was first emulated. But obviously the original's got quite a lot of discrete sound. Don't jump into them. The original's got quite a lot of discrete sound circuitry, so the bootleggers, I guess, just wanted to do something a bit easier to bootleg. So instead of copying that exactly, they used this, which I think is the sound from one of the ports. See, I'm not very good at Mario Brothers. I did mention that. It's one of those games with a lot of inertia on your movements, so timing your jumps is a little tricky unless you're used to it. But you know, if you were playing this game in the arcade, you probably wouldn't mind the different sound too much. Okay, that was the bootleg. Original time. Now, a lot of people aren't too keen on how the sound's balanced on this in MAME, but it's one of those that might improve later. It does seem a bit muffled. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it's also quite loud. But obviously it sounds quite different to the bootleg. And things like the footsteps are all discrete sound, you know, analog sound circuitry. And the bootleggers did not want to be reproducing all of that. The bootleg actually runs on Ambush Hardware, which is a Spanish game. There has been a lot of work on discrete sound in MAME lately with the netlist stuff, and I do need to cover that in more detail, but Mario's not been looked at recently. Nor is Space Invaders, and I think both of them stand to benefit if they were looked at again. See, I'm not doing quite as badly this time. I actually got to the bonus stage without messing up completely. Maybe the bootleg's just harder as well and didn't realise. Although I think I just played it badly. I'm not doing very well on the bonus stage. Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of the discrete sound ones. They end up quite muddy. I'm not sure why. It's a complaint a lot of people have had. I'm hoping that, you know, if they do get looked at again, something changes. With that, it might be a case of, you know, emulating them with sharper sound required too much CPU time. It's not, you know, real-time circuit simulation is not for the faint of heart. If you get a lot of the professional circuit simulation packages can't run these things at full speed, and MAME's got to run the simulation at full speed. Otherwise, you know, the game would be too slow to play. So compromises have to be made. Oh. I think these days it can be done better. Plus, at the time, the samples that we had to compare against weren't great. I mean, a lot of those were recorded at low sample rates and were quite muddy themselves. So while the people working on the sound have done their best to match those samples, sometimes the samples weren't great that they were trying to match. It's just not an easy field to get right, and not one I'm familiar enough with to make a difference. Oh dear. But yeah, I think this is probably one of the worst offenders for muddy sound. But, uneasy. This is one of the netlist ones, but yeah, that was Mario. I mean, there's not much to show on Mario. You do get more elements in the later stages, but I think it's fairly well known, isn't it? I'm not playing Mouser again. I was told I was asked to play Mouser, and told it was a good fun game on another stream, and I failed entirely to get anywhere on it, and I haven't practiced it since. So I'm not going to be doing that one. I'm going to go with Monster Farm Jump. This is a 2001 Techmo game on PlayStation type hardware. This, I think, was also on the PlayStation. I could fire up Mortal Kombat. I'm not good at Mortal Kombat. I could quickly put it on. I mean, I'm not going to put the JAKKS specific version of Mortal Kombat on because that seems to be difficulty set to, you know, the highest, and I'm really bad at that. I can usually not beat the first stage. Don't jump down holes. Millipede is quite difficult to control on a keyboard. I could have a look at it, but Missile Command's easier to play. Yeah, I can put mouse on for Missile Command and be okay. Millipede is one of those where, to me, it always feels like you need the trackball. But at least Centipede is. I'm assuming Millipede's the same. Well, this is a simple concept. Jump to the end. Stay on the actual track. Don't fall off. It's like bouncy golf, but without hitting a golf ball. And without bunkers. Yep, this is exactly what a spaceship looks like. Yeah, I think a lot of arcade games did use trackballs and other odd controls that don't map too easily to a PC unless you've got something very similar. And trackballs, so if the trackball's being used like a mouse, it's usually fine. So missile command's fine. If it's one where you've got to keep moving it in one direction, or spin it, like say Golden Tee games, it doesn't really work as well on mouse because you're sort of meant to control your trackball movement and spin it. I might put on the Miss Pac-Man Twin thing that was recently emulated. I know I did a video on that, but a lot of people enjoyed seeing that video. Oh dear. That's a very Roadrunner-like death sequence. Wile E. Coyote falling to his death. Okay, that was Monster Farm Jump anyway. Just as a bit of a more modern, I say modern, it's 20 years old, 3D game. I don't have the Mortal Kombat hacks. That would have been quite nice to show off. The one that somebody had made, but that's not in MAME, and I don't have it. I could put on that JAKKS port actually. Couldn't I? I'm not going to get anywhere on it, but yeah, I'll put on that JAKKS port. So this is the JAKKS Pacific port of Mortal Kombat from 2004, which is apparently the last sort of from source port that was done on Mortal Kombat. There is a newer unit, a little handheld arcade unit from Basic Fun, but that's a hacked up version of the Mega Drive game on a Mega Drive on a chip setup in a little arcade cabinet, and it's got awful sound, it's got the blood code removed, got 2-player mode removed, and isn't a very good product. This one, if you've got 2 units, does allow you to link them up. And has most of the game intact. This one seems more based off. It's the ones with loading in. So if you know the transformations require loading and stuff like that. But I don't remember what the buttons are. The sound emulation is not perfect here. You see, they instantly learn your moves on this. You know, they're blocking it from the start, so it's like little uppercut fight there. What was the ice slide? I can't even remember the key, the special moves. Just that one. A win. Win by default timeout. Not the best way to win, is it? Oh, you actually fell for the ice. I mean, I have seen somebody flawless victory their way through this, so it is possible. You just have to really know your Mortal Kombat moves and your strategies. But I was quite glad when somebody did, after I'd emulated it, because I was struggling, so I couldn't verify everything worked. I don't know the finishing moves, so, you know. But yeah, it's a respectable port, this one, for plug and play. And if you had two of the units, you could link them together. There was a no blood and a blood version, which is actually the same code. There's just a jumper inside the unit that determines if it runs with blood or without. If you turn the blood off, you lose all the fatalities, you lose some of the moves, you lose the pit stage, you lose a lot of the content. So I guess you can't link a blood and non-blood one, because that doesn't seem logically like it work. And the link feature is not emulated, so I can't test that. But yeah, this was all ported to the Sun Plus hardware, so I as somebody who likes to the technical side of things, knowing that Sun Plus is quite a strange architecture where there's only 16-bit bytes and the games are being ported is interesting. I mean, the original TMS processor, Texas Instruments processor that Mortal Kombat used was an odd one byte addressing, so it's come from an odd architecture in the first place. But there were there were a couple of these things that were ported to this Sun Plus platform. Ghosts and Goblins was too, and the Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man. Yeah, I'd love to finish. Oh, I don't know the finishing moves, but I just did the finishing move. There we go. Now, Raiden is the easiest player to play as in this, because you just spam that attack and that happens. Just how he's beating me, really. But yeah, they've got the correct spelling of Raiden here, rather than the home computer console port spelling from the day, which was with a Y. Okay, maybe he's quite easy to play against if he does that too often, because you just do that against him. You could actually pull the moves off. No. Nope. Okay, I apparently I'm getting through more rounds of this than I expected. I thought I'd be knocked out in the first round. Okay, this is why I hammer the keyboard again. There we go. While trying not to make too much noise. But this version, this stage is quite plain on this version. It doesn't have these scrolling clouds or anything. So there are some obvious cutbacks when doing the port, but overall I think it does look a bit better than the console ports back in the day. But there's some layers of graphics missing. I mean, the spikes below the pit, if I get there, they're all behind the characters. None of them in front of them, like in the other ports. There you see. I think Raiden was one of my favourites just because the characters stood out. I mean, you had Scorpion and Sub-Zero, obviously just palette swaps of each other, with Reptile being the same and just the moves changed. So while I liked them as characters, it felt a bit lazy. Raiden, of all the fire effects, lightning effects. I did notice on this port, on the final stage, I did one of the Raiden's moves and something else happened at the same time, and I ended up with stuck spikes on the screen, so it's not perfectly programmed. It didn't clear off the lightning effects. But yeah, no coins needed. It's a decent enough port. The attract mode does seem a bit bugged in MAME. it always seems to do cage against cage until something triggers, something flips in the code. Then it does a proper track mode, but I don't quite know why that is. That's one of the mystery bugs with the emulation of that one. What now? Missile Command was suggested, wasn't it? Shall we go with the original Missile Command or the Arcade Classics Missile Command? The original's better. Yeah, the original. Missile Command. There we got, we've got some cycling colours again. Defend cities. Ooh, this needs to be sped up. Analog controls. I seem to recall this glitches a bit too much if you set them too high, but that is far too slow by default. There we go. You see, this just acts like a mouse, so, this isn't a problem in terms of trackball mapping to PC. Now, the best players can marathon this for hours and, just leave the machine after a while, let their extra lives run down, and I am not one of those players. I will be dead within a minute or so. It's also a game I have fond memories of on some of the computer ports. Though I can't tell you exactly which ports or what they were called, or even which platforms. It must have been a CPC or a Spectrum game. But there was one I played a lot of back in the day. And you have a middle city too. I forgot middle to it too. I forget that. That's on the middle mouse button. And this is obviously far better. Oh, I'm out of ammo. This is obviously far better than Taito's. Was it Colony 7, Colony 9, Colony something, which was a joystick-based game like this, but just really bad. I've not played the VCS version. I did compile a little list of VCS games to maybe play for a future stream, because MAME's VCS emulation is actually pretty good. This is always a case of anticipating where the missiles are going to go and shooting them before they get there. So you've got to judge the speeds. That's the challenge of this one. No. And that's my city's gone. Great score, but everybody is dead. I mean, does your score really matter when there are no cities left on Earth? Nobody left to actually admire your score? Probably not. But yeah, that's Missile Command. I will actually go with the prototype Arcade Classics from Atari in '92. This one seems quiet. Missile Command 2. What sound hardware was this? Just a 6295, oh dear. This is poverty sound hardware. This is basically a Chinese bootleg sound hardware. But yeah, Atari did want to put out an update to the game and bundled it with Super Centipede and called it Arcade Classics, and then it didn't ever get released. Again, this was the period when they were putting out Pit Fighter and, well, Yeah, not Atari's finest hour, if we're honest. It's still Missile Command, but there's no real reason to play this over the original. I don't think the new graphics are especially nice. The gameplay's not really innovated at all. It's just a very 90s looking version of Missile Command. Almost, it looks more like a home computer game, really. I guess that New York image is slightly inappropriate these days. Oh well, London can go. Bye, London. Sorry to anybody living in London. I mean, if this is what when I was being asked to send missiles earlier, I hope this isn't what somebody meant. Paris is gone. Why is New York closer to Paris than London is? Just Moscow and DC remain. Uh-oh. Bye, Moscow. Bye, DC. And once again, the world is destroyed with some very skull-like explosions going on everywhere. Complete apocalypse. Apart from the people on that ship, they're fine. I mean, look, they're perfectly happy up here. I can still fire. Oh, apparently, I can fire a missile. So there's somebody down there in that little bunker still alive. GFM. Those are definitely my initials. I'm just using the fire buttons in this. If you hit the fire buttons in the demo mode, it beeps at you. Yeah, it's just pointless. I mean, you can see why it wasn't released, really, can't you? It's it feels like one of those cheap plug-and-play remakes that somebody's done, not an official Atari game that's meant to be a celebration of two of their most famous classic arcade titles. But again, Atari didn't always make the best choices. And this looks a bit nicer, but it's still pointless. I will give Millipede a try. Not the Ducks hack. I don't think this plays too well on a mouse. Maybe it's not too bad. It's better than I remember. I mean, I'm not always the biggest fan of Atari's art and sound design in the first place, but they did go through a spell where it just got really bad. Again, this is one of those games where I never played it in the arcade, but I do have fond memories of playing versions of it on the home computers. Especially the versions that did add a little bit extra, like TNT, D8, DDT. So you had to be careful where you were shooting. There are lots of different home ports of, well, unofficial ports and remakes of this on home systems. Yeah, this does play better than I thought it would actually. You can't move super fast, and if you do try to move too fast, you end up out of control. But as long as you try and keep your movements fairly small, it's fine. Oh, that got me. But yeah, there you go. Simple little play. And I didn't even get on the high scoreboard. But there you go. I like the little attract mode this one has actually. With all the little, you know, it shows you all the little things on the screen. All in one place. I think that's a nice bit of presentation they've got going on there. But, yeah. Okay, that was Millipede, just briefly. Just briefly, because I had something else in mind. That, oh yeah, I know what's going to play. Metamorphic Force, a Konami one. I'm playing the Japanese version because the general rule whenever you play a Konami game is play the Japanese version, because Konami really messed up the difficulty balance and everything on the export versions. But yeah, one of the Konami beat 'em ups this. There were likely still some graphical imperfections with the emulation of this. The Konami drivers are still under a long-term rewrite that we don't know when is going to be complete. But I believe it's playable to the end. Obviously, the downside of the Japanese versions, I can't tell you what any of the text says. But the choice between reading the text and having a game that plays better, I'll take the game that plays better. So, you know, a bit of Sega Altered Beast vibes going on here, but it's a far better game than Altered Beast, I will say that much. It's a little bit loud. Different style of game, but nice soundtrack too. Again, this one doesn't get talked about much compared to, say, Simpsons and X-Men and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't think Konami left easy switches in like some companies did, so it might be a fair bit of work. Obviously you've got the whole transform into a beast concept like Altered Beast, but this is a game using, you know, Konami's established beat 'em up mechanics, and as such plays really well. I mean, you have to be good at beat 'em ups to fully enjoy it. Not do that. Yeah, I've never seen anybody say this is their favourite Konami beat 'em up. I mean, maybe it's got some downsides, not being an expert on the genre I don't really know about. So The voice there's still English, which I guess is always the case. I don't think there's missing Japanese voices. Oh no, I didn't waste that. I thought I'd wasted that. I stepped in that area. But nice little scaling effects there. Very capable of hardware, this Konami hardware. They do always remind me a bit of SNES games. And I think the resolution's more SNES-like, isn't it? Yeah, Konami games, a lot of them are this sort of 2:8 resolution, not 320. So they're closer to something like a SNES. And you can kind of tell just from the art design, the number of pixels on each character. Even the JAKKS system is usually used at that resolution rather than a higher one. Although some of those multi-screen sports games do use high resolutions. Yeah, I didn't cover this one on the beat 'em up stream either. It's one I was going to get around to and then never did, which is a reason I've gone to it now. I had a little look at it now. If I do a follow-up beat 'em up stream, I might cover it. I might end up covering it again. I always waste those, don't I? You've got your desperation attack like most, but it costs health. I'm not going to play too long on this, I just wanted to show it off. No, beat 'em ups, they're not always the most interesting to watch, because you're just watching somebody, you know, fight wave after wave, very similar enemies. But when there's plenty going on like this one, I think they can be entertaining. All those flashy effects. But that might just be, you know, I'm not the biggest beat 'em up fan in the world. That's why I wouldn't rank, say, Streets of Rage 2 in my top Mega Drive games. It's just not a genre that appealed to me that much. Although this one I like more because it's got that creative fantasy element. And for me, Streets of Rage lacked that. Same with sort of Renegade. People say how Renegade is a fantastic game. But to me, it's just going along streets, beating people up in the subway. And the like, and there's nothing really fantasy or creative about it. Anyway, we're on 2 hours, just gone over 2 hours. I do usually keep these between 2.5 and 3 hours, so that should give you an idea of how much longer I'm going to be going on with this. These guys with the statues do look a bit out of place. That's a nice effect, the background's coming to life like that. It's pulled off well, I think. It does have a bit of a Turtles feel to it as well. A nice little special effect for the boss. Fire. Come here. Violent Storm's another Konami one I like. That's got big sprites and a strange quite washed out palette, but it plays well. that lost life? Oh no. It was now. I thought I was dead. Oh well. I'm just going to beat this boss and then call it for this game. Yeah, it is very colourful, very flashy, lots of effects going on. It's one of those that's got a good intensity to it, I think. It's one of the reasons I'm being a bit quieter is because I feel the game is maybe providing the intensity rather than me having to talk all the time. Although when I do get stuck on a boss like this for a while, it does start to drag on a little bit. There we go. And that whole effect, IGS like to use the star sort of effect around the characters. You see that quite a bit in that in the Oriental Legend games. This is more of a simple standard beat 'em up. There's no item wheels and item to use during the levels. It's pure, you know, Konami beat 'em up. That's a graphical glitch there. That's imperfect. The text is broken. But like I said, there is the Konami rewrite that's been in the works for a long time now. Hopefully something will come of it because I'm looking forward to seeing like games like Overdrive running actually. Even though Overdrive is one of those games that seems to barely hold together even on an original PCB and looks like it's going to crash at any moment. It's an interesting driving game. Guardians of the Horde. I don't like it. I mean, it's just feels like they threw everything they could together. Nothing quite worked. It's got that pit fighter feel, but without the things that made Pit Fighter fun. And Pit Fighter is not a good game, but Guardians just feels like Pit Fighter, but worse. At least that's how I feel about it. Because you've got your reflections in the ice on this level too, that's quite nice, rather than just a plain shadow. I mean, I think when I do that sequel stream that I keep saying I want to do, I'll look at Guardians of the... for playing at the moment, I'm just using keyboard. I tend to stick with keyboard. I've got a pad set up for if I want to play PlayStation stuff, but for arcade stuff, I tend to find it easy on keyboard. I don't know why, it's just always been the case. A cheap keyboard at that. Yeah. Not a high-end gaming keyboard. But there we go, that was Metamorphic Force. Let's have a look through my list here. I think I will go with... yeah. I'll go with one that's maybe not a favourite, but one that's playable. This is Metal Saver, a 1994 game from First Amusement. First Amusement, basically the company that ended up branding themselves as SemiCom later, hence why you've got the same sort of unicorn logo. But this is quite a rough around the edges game. This also had DOS port. It's a single screen platformer, which didn't get covered in the single screen platformer stream. But it's also got more of that beat 'em up feel to it, like Funky Jet. But this is more of a platformer because you're actually on platforms. The sound is horrible. But you're beating up the enemies and picking up the bits of metal that get dropped. Don't pick up the skulls because that's bad. But yeah. But you can see, in terms of how the hardware works, this is the same hardware type as SemiCom used. It's got the same style of protection of putting code in memory. You can tell it's a SemiCom production before they were SemiCom. Korean game again. And the Korean industry is something I've looked at a lot with MAME because I've emulated so many of the Korean games. So I will quite often be coming back to Korean games when I'm playing on stream. If they be they good or bad, as long as they, you know, they're family friendly ones, not ones that are going to throw up inappropriate content, because that is one of the problems with the Korean games. Many of them did. It's like, what can we add to a game? Oh, ladies. But SemiCom didn't do that. That's one of the bad things about this. Often you'll kill something and it will spawn those skull things rather than things you can pick up, and they stun you. And you don't really want enemies dropping skulls when you're right next to them and trying to pick things up. You do have this drop down kick move, flying kick move, which is handy when you can use it. Actually, let's get rid of you first. But yeah, very rough around the edges, this one, but also very rare in arcade form. But pretty much cloned Tumble Pop hardware, but not stolen Tumble Pop code from what I can tell. It is actually original code. Health pickups. Yeah, once you get the feel for this and realise it's quite slow paced and you have to plan your attacks, it's quite fun to play. But if you're just trying to rush around quickly, it doesn't play like Tumble Pop, for example. You stop after you do your jump animation. You've got to be prepared for that and not leave yourself vulnerable. Same with your attacks. Your punches take a while. I noticed there's a stray pixel on the sprite when you do your punch too. Not the most fine-tuned art design, although, I mean, Capcom managed to leave stray pixels in with Strider, of all things, which got reported as a possible bug recently by the people doing the Mr. FPGA implementation. But we had to confirm that, yep, that's what the PCB does. The sprite ROM just has a bad pixel in it for that very animation. It's been confirmed on many boards. And MAME isn't about fixing things like that. It's just about, you know, documenting that was what it was. That's how it was. So if Capcom made a mistake, that mistake lives on. And I think that one of the worst offenders for bad pixels in graphics is IREM's Wily Tower. The font graphics on that have got quite a few bad stray pixels in. But again, confirmed on multiple boards, that's how they shipped it. Mistakes happen. Outrun's a famous one where the sample ROM is actually badly programmed. An entire data bit is missing on the percussion instrument samples. So they sound really muffled and bad on an original board, and when using the correct sprite ROM. There is a version in MAME, home, you know, recent homebrew fix for that people installed on PCBs, the Enhanced Edition, which includes the corrected sample ROM. But an original outrun with original ROMs does have quite bad sound in places. Anyway, we've got a boss. Big spider thing. Look, here we go. I'm not going to beat the spider thing. That'll do, I think. That's game over anyway, isn't it? Well, if I don't continue, it is, yeah. Game over. It's got a little bit of charm, this one. Very rough around the edges. The graphics are kind of ugly. Quite slow paced, but it feels different to most of the other single screen platformers. And it begins with M, so it got a bit of coverage today. Mania 7, that's not the name of the game. I don't want to do Metal Hawk, it's an annoying control scheme, although I was tempted. Might go with Mighty Pang, you know. Yeah, let's go with Mighty Pang. Mighty Pang is a very good version of Pang. And Pang is a very good game. Depends what you count as exciting, really. I mean, I looked at that Must Shoot TV earlier, but it's a prototype, so it's kind of incomplete. Again, the baseball power baseball thing that was just added as a prototype, but people seem to quite like it. The Miss Pac-Man Twin might be a hack, but it gives you two-player Pac-Man, two-player Miss Pac-Man. I'd have to bring up a list to go over it. I mean, I do try and keep a record of things that have been added in MAME on my website, so I've got the sort of the write-up websites for 2020. I've started adding stuff for 2021 now and again. There's been a lot of movement on the music games, the Konami pop and music Dance Revolution things over the last few weeks, and there was a lot of progress on those, I think, last year or the year before too, with some of the encrypted ones running much better, so the music decoding worked. There's been a lot going on. I just can't remember off the top of my head exactly all of it. But yeah, just sort of check the top of the release notes for new working games, new promotions. You will miss out on emulation improvements there, because there are quite a lot of things that have improved as well over the years. Better sound and logic fixes. But definitely check out some of the music improvements that are going on if you like those games. And there were, I know last year there was Anime Champ and Great Bishi Bashi added in terms of working games. So again, Konami stuff. 2 entries in the Bishi Bashi series that weren't previously emulated. So they work. I mean, I should know these. In fact, I've probably got a whole list of things in front of me here from when I was... I've got like 3 or 4 A4 sheets of things I wrote down for a video I was trying to do of covering the stuff. But that video was getting ridiculously long, and I've been changing style between doing it. It's not ideal. That Namely Neo rare Japanese game with cats, a bit odd, that one, not for everybody. DDR Dance Revolution Kids, another Konami one, but I think the music goes a bit out of sync in that one. As I mentioned, I try and put screenshots of things on my page, which and I'd not actually mentioned the page in the YouTube video descriptions because I don't maintain it actively. I just upload screenshots every now and again, although I've not put the music stuff up there yet because I've not tried it all yet myself. A lot of what's going on recently is non-arcade, so there's plug and play toys you get because somebody needs to preserve them, and it's what we've been doing. I think and the important fix wise, there's a fix went in for Sega's tranquilizer gun, because previously that would always crash. It had never actually been properly playable in the whole sort of 20 odd years MAME had emulated it. After the third level there was a protection check, and when you game over there was a protection check, so it really wasn't, pardon me, it really wasn't running properly. And when the discrete sound emulation, all the proper sound was added for things like Tranquilizer Gun and Borderline, I had a look in the driver and noticed that there were some serious issues. So, you know, everything got a little bit of a touch up at the same time. So Tranquilizer Gun does actually now work properly with proper sound. Borderline has got proper sound. Things like that. So, you know, the Cinematronics games all did boxing bugs and likes. They've got much better sound. So, I mean, to me, the discrete sound emulation on some of the older emulated stuff is just like having a newly emulated game, because it makes such a big difference. But obviously, maybe not everybody feels the same. Yeah, I like this version of Pang. I don't like the main character art. That's not too good looking. But otherwise, it's a very playable version of Pang, this one. There is one M thing that I was tempted to look at, which is the Mission Paintball powered up plug and play, but it's quite slow paced. It's not the most entertaining thing to see from the start, although I might fire it up briefly. I'm just looking at some of this list in front of me. Fix bugs in Final Star Force. Is there any page list? I don't know where all my other pages. Oh, some interesting clones. So Light Spirits, which is a different version of the Korean 1945 rip-off before they branded it as such. But yeah, I mean, if I just bring that up. And if you just check out this link, this covers arcade, plug and play and all sorts. But that's where I dumped a load of screenshots last year from things we were looking at. So it's worth having a look at that if you want to see some of what was going on last year. And there are pages for previous years. I don't consider any of them to be fully finished articles, because I sort of one year will end and then I'll be rushed on to getting things done for the next year, and then sometimes never go back and finish them. But have a look at that maybe. I don't think this one's going to be especially playable on keyboard, but this is Midnight Resistance. Actually, I'm going to mouse support. The mouse is a bit oversensitive. Okay, mouse analog speed needs to go way down. It's still a bit too sensitive. This is not very playable on mouse, no. In fact, this is probably going to be better on keyboard. Let me see, keyboard. Oh wait. Let's give this a try. Right. It's too slow. Configuring this game properly is not always easy. Okay, let's give that a try. No, wait, the direction was right before. Sorry about this. Actually, I can reverse it there, can't I? How to best play this on a keyboard? I'm not sure. Yeah, this is one of those games that's definitely more famous on the computers than it ever was in the arcades. I mean, the C64 port, if anything, is a far better programmed game and feels strange to play because the C64 one runs at a smooth 50 frames a second, whereas this arcade is updating every other frame. It's not Data East's finest piece of programming, this, but it is still a really enjoyable game. Can I afford a weapon? That'll do. And the computer versions, especially the 8-bits, are push scroll, which can be annoying at times. But they just took off in their own way, I think. People loved the idea of the game. And this, they're meant to be keys, but everybody I knew used to call them just lollipops because they do kind of look like lollipops. But this tank can fire on its own. Look, there's nobody manning it. In terms of the sound improvements, yeah, some of these Data East games that are apparently improved. RoboCop is meant to sound better now. Bad Dudes is meant to have had some sound improvements. Some sounds were missing or cutting off before that now work, from what I'm told. You got me. I think one of the issues with this is, despite having rotary stick, you've still really only got 8 directions of fire. It could have done with a few more. So there's a weird priority glitch here, I think, maybe, I don't know. Unless that is meant to obscure the bullets. And it's got loads of slowdown here too, but that's just the game. It's not quite sure why. Again, in terms of programming, it doesn't feel like the best programmed game. And we know the original slows down. We know it's not a case of bad emulation. Just oddly, I mean, it doesn't look like there's that much going on, but it must still be processing other parts of the levels at the same time or something. I mean, it's almost Metal Slug 2 slowdown level here. So, about half an hour remaining on the stream. Oh, it's not dead yet, is it? No, it's not dead yet. You have to get below it now, don't you? I seem to remember. Not like that. Yeah, that's it. It's the lollipops that aren't lollipops. I do like the way the level's structured, where it opens up. You know, it scrolls down the next part of the level. Nice if you had a sort of short-range knife attack for cases like that. Anyway, this was Midnight Resistance, one of Data East classics. Maybe not the best programmed arcade game from them, but still very enjoyable game. And one many people have fond memories of. Okay. Shoot 'em up time again. Another licensed game. Mazinger Z. On the Cave type hardware, I believe. Yeah, it's a variation of the hardware Cave used for their early shooters. Big robots. Maybe not the best of shooters, but again, like a lot of licensed properties. It's more to appeal to the fans sometimes. I think I can turn the volume up here too, so excuse the black screen for a while. There we go. Feels a bit older. This feels almost like a sort of more of an 80s shooter than a 90s one to me. I don't know. It's quite small sprites. I don't think we'll ever see campaign version dumped, to be honest. It's one of those too many people know who've got it, too much legal risk if it was ever be released type of cases. Because, I mean, it was given to competition winners, wasn't it? So, Cave likely have a record of the competition winners somewhere. So, you know, unless it ends up being officially released, which seems unlikely because apparently Cave don't have it themselves, it's a messy situation. Don't chop down buildings like that, it's very rude. That was even more rude. Chopping me in half. I mean, yeah, personally, that Dodonpachi version, I've just put it on that list of things we're never going to see. With, you know, a bunch of others. I don't think we'll ever see things like Irem's Battle Bird. Possibly never see things like Beyond the Kung Fu. They just seem ones that are either lost or too risky for those who own them. I think we've probably lost a lot of the Data East cassette games that haven't been dumped to this point already, and we know there were some holes in that library. I think there meant to be a bunch of medal games in the hardware that we've not seen any dumps of. But fragile media makes those even worse. And, you know, we do our best. But not everything is destined to be available in 30 years from now. Don't pick up trains either. Oh dear. Again, they're very rude in this game, you know, slicing buildings in half, using trains as, you know, whips to knock me out with. And I'm the one that blows up the train. Now this is distinctly okay. Nice looking clouds. Don't really want those power-ups. That power up. Background's a little plain now, you see it's just a cityscape repeating. Feels like there should be a bit more going on. No, I didn't want to do that. I won't continue on this one. I had a little play of it. It's not the most memorable of M shooters, is it? I think Macross was better. I could play the first two Macross games, maybe. Maybe not. There's still a lot of M games in this list. Could go with a Capcom one. I could go with a non-arcade one. I've been doing all arcade this list, although I've not come up with a big list of non-arcade ones added to it. I've got Mega Turrican on the Genesis, maybe. Why not go with this classic Sega, actually? No, I'm not going to go classic Sega. I'm actually going to go with that paintball game I mentioned. Hasbro Tiger, paintball powered up. Let's map the controls to something. Actually, this is meant to be shoot as well, isn't it? So this is a plug and play game, but it's surprisingly okay. Oh yeah, and you don't want that to not. So, not much in the way of things. The thing is with this, you're meant to maintain your save game, you're meant to buy the weapon upgrades, so you can do more on each stage. But, you know, it's a decent little, you know, shooter, gallery shooter, that thing. Got your hide button where you can reload. Oh, that's your pause button. I didn't need to pause, so I don't need that one. But there's different stages with this with different gameplay. So there's this stage, and then there's a defender support stage. There's a knight stage. There's a capture the flag type stage where you've got to defend somebody who's capturing the flag. So it tries to incorporate various different ideas from paintball into it. But you've got limited ammo and things like that, and if you run out, you're in trouble. So for a plug and play one, this one is actually really impressive. Although with the original you need a CRT TV. So for a lot of these CRT light guns that required a CRT TV, you know, emulation is kind of the future for them, because CRT TVs are on, you know, they're on the way out. You can't really get them easily these days. They're starting to become worth a fair bit of money. So if you want to play this, emulation's actually your best bet now. And you can get good guns for the PC, I'm sure. A lot of people seem to be raving about those Sinden ones. I've never tried them. I don't know if they're actually an improvement over previous ones. But you know, you can get light guns for a PC, so it's more realistic to be playing something like this on a PC now than it is to be using the original plug and play device. Though you do need a few extra keys for reload and movement in places, which might cause issues. Oh, yeah, let me know how it is then. I know I've seen people say they're good, but I don't know there. Luckily, you do get 2 continues, but I tend not to buy things like that myself. But I'm always interested in knowing how people find them, so that if people do ask for recommendations, we can say, yeah, that works well or that doesn't work well. But there are a couple of plug and play light gun games emulated. The other 2 paintball games aren't emulated yet. There's the original Mission Paintball and Paintball Trainer. Those are a bit trickier to dump. This one had a more standard setup, not proper ROMs, but it had pads in the layout of a ROM that Sean was able to dump it with. Whereas I don't think the other 2 paintball games do. My Mission Paintball Trainer has got everything under a metal cage as well, so I couldn't even open that up to photograph what was inside because I couldn't work out how to get the metal cage off it. There are a few sound issues with this. There was the Turtles shooter that was emulated, so that's very, very simple. You can complete it without really trying. There's a few Zavix ones, but unfortunately one of them died before we could dump it, because it's a bit of a risky process. Well, Sean could dump it, I say we. I'm not doing any of the dumping, it's Sean. And there we go, you see that's the first mission. The second mission's a sniper one, so you do get no, I've started the same mission, haven't I? Anyway, yeah, that's a Mission Paintball powered up. It's a fun little game actually, especially if you do take the time to play through the missions. Set up your load for each level, you know, buy the upgrades. You've got a sniper stage, you've got a defender base stage. There's a lot of variety in there. But yeah, maybe Sean will get to dumping the other Mission Paintball games at some point. Apparently the first one's really good and really challenging. But I don't know. I know he's got them. Monster Slider. SSV Hardware Visco. One of those Halloween ones. Spooky game. Even the warning screen goes red. Also very low volume. That seems like a better volume. But this is one of those SSV games that uses the palette effects to do sort of fake blending, so it looks quite nice on all the lamps and candles and everything. It's also one of the ones that was broken for quite a few years at first when it was emulated in MAME, because it relies on the memory mirroring of all things to when it's accessing the playfield. This also got home ports, I think, on the Saturn at least, probably the PlayStation 2. can tilt the playfield backwards and forwards, which is kind of the trick because it changes the gravity. So yeah, I didn't cover this on when I was doing other puzzle games either. So I'm very out of practice on this. It's been a good few years since I've played it. You are meant to be building chains like in any other puzzle game. So failing to do that's probably going to cost me. And I might get away with it on the first stage because you know it's the first stage. Depends how cruel it is. Right, now if I get a blue, that should be good, shouldn't it? There we go. Not what I wanted to do. That didn't sound healthy. The computer is out chaining me. It's kind of got that ugly pre-rendered look, but at the same time they've managed to make it not ugly, I feel. Obviously just my opinion. Yeah, I think it's beating me quite early on here. Now it's definitely beating me quite early on here. I might beat myself doing that. That was a terrible place to put it. No! Double no. Triple no. If I recover from this, it'll be a miracle. I don't think I can recover from this. It looks an unwinnable situation to me. Yeah, that's... no. I lost. But yeah, this is one of those to play on Halloween, really, isn't it? If you like puzzle games. That was a very disappointing performance, however. I know I can get past the first level on this one. I keep forgetting to try and set up the chains. And if you don't set up the chains, you don't win. Oh, I ruin the chains like that when I've got them planned. Oh, I messed it up. This should chain. No, I messed it up again. Excuse me while I fail chaining class. This chain, that chains. But they counted. Yeah, I do like this one. I've just become especially bad at it over the years. There's a chain. Another chain. Yeah, I've got 3 chains. Oh. Thank you for the subscription. Yeah, there's something that's just very cute about this one, I find. The way the crosses rotate when you flip the playfield as well. It's the attention to detail, I think. I think that's the appeal of this one to me. Just wish I was a bit better at it. So yeah, about 10 minutes remaining on the stream. There we go. Okay, this will chain. I really should be doing better chains than this. And sometimes with these games the skulls do help you because when they vanish you can set up chains that way. But you really have to plan it properly. See, I might be able to get something out of this. Nope, not quite. This will. I'm not a double then. Yep. I have a feeling I'm still going to lose this though, because I'm just not doing enough chains by far. Not looking good, is it? Again, it stands out as a different puzzle game because I can't think of any other with this exact mechanic. And that is what will keep me coming back to a puzzle game every now and again, and what makes them stick in mind. I mean, Ryan mentioned Oh My God on last night's stream, and I definitely want to cover that one at some point. I failed this. I'm going to quit out of this because I'm not going to win that without a bit more practice on that one. Definitely not. So, where now? Yeah, I'll go with the Capcom one. Good old classic CPS1 Mega Twins. Or Cheeky Boys, as it was known in Japan. Another very colourful game, this one. You've got an exploding bomb of colourful stars. And Capcom's logo being revealed with some stars. Got a Mega Drive port this as well. This is far too loud. Sorry about that. I forgot I'd turn the volume right up for the previous game. Let's start on round one. This is one of those odd ones that asks you for your name before the start of the game. Pardon me, before you start playing. But quite Wonder Boy, isn't it, in terms of some of the design. Not the original arcade Wonder Boy, but some of the newer ones kind of reminds me a bit of. Yeah, I mean, most of Capcom's output was solid, and if you like platformy games, this is a good one. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's better with two players, hence why it's called Mega Twins. You play with a friend, you have a bit more fun. But it's still a solid game. You're going to see the indoor ways again feel quite. They're not shops here, but quite Wonder Boy like. Lots of coins to collect. Hang on to the rocks, you see. Don't fall down there though, that's a bad idea. A little hidden secrets, you know, hit that enough times. Chest falls down from there. Welcome to the castle. No ordinary rock. Lost an arm. Well, that was a bit mean. No, I don't want to do that. This does benefit from the arcade version having more colours than the Mega Drive version. The Mega Drive version of this is a bit duller. But it loses a lot because the colours add something here. All the different the shading on everything. It's very vibrant. Welcome Warrior USA. Please take this bomb. Let's go to round 2. Now I can fly. This will be the last game. No, that's not good. Got a little bit of a parodious feel to it as well, I think. Not quite the same style, but some similarities. Let's spam you with some attacks. Okay, I can't remember the last time I actually played through this, so I don't even remember seeing this boss before, even though I played through this several times, but it's just been so long. One of those with an annoying low health sound, as you can hear right now. But that is how games were sometimes. It's like, yeah, tell me I've got low health, but I need to go to do something about it. You can tell why not many games have low health warnings like that. It kind of makes you just want to lose the rest of your health, so get rid of the warning if you know you're not going to find a health pickup. But maybe that's the point. Maybe they want you to just go, I don't want to hear this anymore, I'd rather put in another coin. Well, I think I said before, Gunnail is the worst offender for that, personally. To the point where I think it was Trap hacked it out the code so that they could do score runs on it without having the annoying alarm all the time. Alright. Oh, I have another life. Now let's spam attack you with some lightning. I'm just rushing through this now to die and yeah, quit. So yeah, that was Mega Twins. I might come back to that one at another point because it'd be a good one to play properly instead of rushing through. Looking at my M list, it's definitely less notable titles I've got left on it now, apart from maybe the likes of Metal Slug. But there is probably enough for another just M games stream. You know, I've got Mayday, The Odd Defender, Mechanized Attack, The Shooter, Megazone, Mega Attack, Megadon, Mermaid. I've got some Fruit Machines, Merry Circus. They're not really playing on stream. Metal Soldier Isaac 2. Mirai Ninja, the Namco one. Mr. Viking, I was almost tempted to play that a bit ago. There's 2 other Gundam games I've not looked at. Mission X, the Monopoly Quiz Machine, Mouse Shooter Go-Go, Mr. Cougar, Mr. Gomon, Mystic Riders. I didn't even get to Mystic Marathon again today. I was going to have a look at that, but I didn't get around to it. Muscle Bomber Duo. I didn't get around to the Miss Pac-Man Twin I was going to look at. Mutation Nation, MVP, the baseball game, Mutant Knight, Mutant Fighter. There's another stream's worth here at least. Motos, Mauja, Money Puzzle Exchanger, Marine Date. That's always a fun one. Odd one. Mappy. Not get Mappy. Didn't get to Maniac Square or the Maniac Square prototype. Mangchi, Data East Cassette, Manhattan, Magician Lord. There's a lot. There's a whole big list here of M games I could potentially play on another stream. Marvel Superheroes, Mag Planet, Mac Breakers, Missing in Action, the other Mortal Kombat games, Mysterious Stones. These are all games that are worth playing. Monsters World, maybe. It's got naked statues. Monster Maulers, although it's a bad version of the game. Monmoko, 128%. 128%? 120%. Yeah, I have a feeling even if I'm only doing arcade games, I can have a look at do another M-Stream Mega Blast Taito's game, although it's not the best. Mazer Blazer. Martial Champion. Mars Matrix. But anyway, yeah. I'm going to call this one here because I'm over the 3 hour mark. So thanks for everybody for watching. Thanks to those who have dropped by in the chat and said hello. It's been good having a chat with you. And I hope to see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye. Oh, thank you for the very late donation there, Santari. Much appreciated. But yeah, okay. Closing this off now.